late, but here we are with our first show of the year, and welcome to all of you from the CUTV and CSC team. We're back with a brand new action-packed show, and we'll get down to that in a sec. Today I'm joined by Gary's Jamie Smith and our very own Dan Hurd from CUTV. For those of you who don't know, this is our first show of the year, and we'll be covering everything from everyday life to sports on a Wednesday, and of course the biggest university sporting event of the year, Welsh Varsity. So guys, what are you looking forward to covering this week?
Well, this week got two rugby games, which are really important games for Cardiff Uni Rugby Firsts, football, netball and hockey, and really over the year just looking forward to getting stuck into university sports once again. Had a great time last year.
Absolutely, yeah. As you mentioned, we'll be covering the men's first team rugby. First of all, we went to watch them play Bath.
We did.
At Clanrumney, and of course they were unbeaten there, 18 months, fortress as some might call it, but didn't work out that way, did it?
No, real shame that was, because within 15 minutes they were 10-0 down already, and after 18 minutes they lost one of their best players to a suspected broken leg, which is a real shame.
Yeah,
it's a difficult start for them really. It was their first competitive game of the season. Bath had played two already. They had lost both of those games, but just that had given them the opportunity to get back into that competitive rhythm again and get back into it as such, get used to that competitive Bucks sort of fixtures. That's not to make excuses, of course.
No.
But the thing is that what they've got to look at is it will get better.
absolutely. So why don't we take a look at a couple of those highlights right now? Not the start that Louis Tonkin and his side wanted. What did you think of the game overall?
Very disappointing, to be honest. That 18-month unbeaten record on the line. First game of the season against a team who'd lost 2 from 2, as Jamie said. So it was very disappointing, really.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like they were just failing to break the defensive line of Bath. They were matching them, but they were definitely better in the scrum and for power, but they just couldn't. They were lacking a lot of creativity.
Well, injuries have played their part. They lost a lot of good players, not only from graduation and so on, but during the game itself and in pre-season. So after losing 2 from 2, they really weren't expecting this, were they, against Bath?
No, definitely not. But like I said, it was their first competitive game of the season. Obviously, you mentioned how graduation, they ended on such a high last year with the varsity victory over Swansea. In Swansea territory as well, was an absolutely magnificent achievement, and the first time that they won that for quite a while. And obviously they would have lost quite a lot of players, with many third years making up that squad. So obviously with them leaving, you've got new players coming in, the sort of cliche, but the side's got to gel. And once they get playing a few more games, I think they'll be back into their rhythm. Yeah,
let's not forget this was Bath's third game of the season. They lost their first 2 openers.
So to come with someone like Clanrumney, which has such a great record over the past 18 months, and to win so comprehensively, is going to be a massive blow of college confidence for the game.
Absolutely, but they have to recognise that it is still very early on in the season, and maybe once they get some players back, hopefully their form will improve.
The one thing that is concerning though is that Louis Tonkin has mentioned that a lot of those injured players are not really that close to returning to action either. They're not going to be back in the short-term future, so that is a little bit of a concern for them. But hopefully, they've got some players in the second team that are capable of making that step up.
Yeah.
Having said that though, Sam Montieri, his loss after 18 minutes with a suspected broken left leg, that was a really nasty injury.
Really hazard proceedings.
The game stopped for a long time, so it must have played on them psychologically maybe while they were regrouping.
I'm sure all they wanted to do was get down to the game and get some points on the board, and
exactly.
Ultimately that probably did hinder their performance.
Having said that though, it was the first game wearing the captain's armband for Tom Wilson. Not the way you would have wanted it to end, of course, with a nasty defeat like that, but I'm not sure it'll play on him too much, because he seemed to really galvanise them and lead very well, which is always great to see with a new captain.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it's a massive responsibility. So much pressure, of course, after that varsity win last year to repeat that success. Yeah. But I'm sure he'll be enjoying the role, and he'll relish the opportunity to try and improve the squad further.
Absolutely. And we were talking about the lack of creativity that the side were producing, and of course they were missing their number 10, Ross Purdy. He's been ruled out for about nearly a year, I think, with a torn ACL. And I think it showed in their overall play. They just weren't able to create anything, and Bath were able to deal really easily with any element of attack that Cardiff could offer.
Well, it was interesting. They managed to play the hooker, Jack Haynes, at number 8 after an injury, so they didn't have players to cover their own positions. So going into the last quarter of the game, they were really struggling there with injuries playing on their mind.
Yeah, and Cardiff did get over the line. Tom Boot with their own try of the game. So I guess there are signs that improvement will come.
Absolutely. Well, looking ahead to the game again against Cardiff Met, that was a big test as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll get on to that later on. But first of all, we have our very own Dan Hurd interviewed the coach Louis Tonkin and the captain Tom Wilson. So here are those interviews for you now.
So I'm here with Coach Louis Tonkin. Louis, what kind of positives can you take from the game?
Not many really at the moment. The character was really good. The boys worked really, really hard from minute 1 to minute 80. We just weren't accurate enough. There's a lot of guys new to that squad, first experiences in first team rugby, and they just learned that you can't make mistakes at that level. But the positives were the characters there, and we've got a lot of work to do. But I know we'll regroup and get back from this.
Did you expect Bath to play the way that they did today?
Yeah, we've done a bit of work on Bath. We went to watch them play last week against Hartbury, and we knew what to expect. And we just didn't execute the game plan at all. I don't think the guys were ready for the physicality that they were facing. And like I said, it's the first game at this level, so it's a learning curve. But we've got to get back on our feet now. We've got to go to Cardiff Met next Wednesday night in front of a big crowd. So.
And will this result affect your preparations for the game next week?
No, the result won't affect it at all. We'll train the same way. We've got to work harder. We've got to put some things right that we weren't aware of. But no, it won't affect our prep. Last season we lost our first game of the season against Swansea away last year, but we had the best season in our history. So I'm not too worried at the moment.
Of course, you finished last year with that excellent varsity win. Is that going to build on this season? That brilliant win?
Yeah, I think we've got about 18, 19 guys returning from that group. I think about 6 or 7 of them are injured at the moment. So we'll be dripping them back in the next few weeks. But the core of that group is still together, so definitely in our minds, but focus on backs for the first instance.
Your number 6, Tom Wilson, was playing his first game as captain today. Do you think he led well?
Yeah, he led very well. Yeah, he led well in our pre-season friendlies. He leads at club level. He's a really good bloke and a hard man, and yeah, he did a good job. He's just disappointed. He took it quite hard. First game as captain, losing like that, but like I say, as a group, we've got to react to that now and do better.
Excellent. I know it's only the first game, but do you think the season will pan out well?
Yeah, definitely. I'm absolutely convinced. We've got a really strong squad, a lot of depth. Like I say, there's a lot of young faces in that squad today, and we've got about 6 or 7 elite squad senior guys, third years, fourth years coming back into our squad the next 2 weeks. So yeah, we're confident we're going to do well. We'll be okay.
And finally, the nasty injury to your number 7. Any update on that?
Nothing confirmed, but it looked like it was a fracture, dislocation of his ankle. So very disappointing. And we lost our second row with a potential medial ligament in the first 15 minutes as well. So that was a shame.
Plenty to build on then. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
The defence was massive, and we found it really hard to break that today. Yeah.
Do you expect them to play the way they did today?
I don't know really. Obviously, new season, it's university rugby. You don't know who's coming in, don't know what you got. So obviously they're a strong team no matter every year. So we expected the best, and we struggled today to break their line. Yeah.
Fantastic. There was the really good win in varsity last year. How do you feel you can build on that this season?
Well, obviously a lot of good new boys have come in, and we got a good squad, really good squad, massive squad. Obviously today struggled with injury a lot. There's a lot of boys sort of went off early doors, and that hampered our game really. But I think big week this week, move on, massive game against Cardiff Met. We got the squad to do it. I don't fault that. We got the squad to do it this year.
Will the defeat affect your prep for next week then?
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, we played good rugby at times. It was just a shame we couldn't break the line and keep going. Do you know what I mean? It's early doors, first game of the season. It's not going to go right. Everything can't go right. So work hard this week, keep going at it, and be better next week.
Like you say, first game of the season, early doors. Do you reckon the season will pan out well after this?
I think so. I've got all confidence. It's a big squad, and the strength within our squad is huge. It's massive. Like there's boys in that second team pushing so hard for this first team spot, and I think through the season I'll really tell. And then people coming up and pressure on each other, and I think we'll have a really strong year. Yeah.
What's the coach like to work for? Will he galvanise the squad now after this?
Oh, massive, yeah. He's a great coach. He did it last year. You just look at his results, they're unbelievable. So he'll do it. We've got the coaching staff, we've got the boys. I guarantee it was improvement, yeah, definitely.
So plenty to look forward to this season then?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Spot on, cheers.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Dan, so how was Louis? Obviously, understandably dejected after the game. Poor result, but he seemed Like, he had high hopes for the season.
Yeah, he's definitely happy. I'm glad he actually talked to us after the game. Surprised he wouldn't be too angry to do that. But no, he's a very good coach, and he really will galvanise them. You know, they built a lot on last season, how they finished after varsity with that fantastic result, and they can use that momentum to carry them over the line. Because, like you say, first game of the season, a lot of games to go, and they will recover from this. They will bounce back. He's a good enough coach to do that. So I'm confident, so is he, I'm sure.
Yeah, once you get that first win under the belt, it's massive for just confidence and morale, and that will hopefully carry them into the season. And they can't do anything about the injuries that they've got. You know, there's no point complaining about it. They've just got to get on with it now, and I'm sure they will.
If they utilise that togetherness they had towards the tail end of last season, which saw them, win so many big games and claim so many great points, then they'll be fine.
Absolutely, and of course we spoke to Tom Wilson as well, and he seems like, despite just being in the second year of his university life, he seems like he's a real leader, that the results so far won't faze him.
It feels like he's been captain for years. He's a natural leader. He really showed his passion on the field. He was barking orders, he was shouting and really voicing his opinion on the field. It was fantastic to see. And they lost a lot of really good players last year, and to have someone with such a strong voice in the dressing room and on the pitch would really help them in these tougher times.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course the second game, which we're going to move on to shortly, that was a big game for them, a big derby. Cardiff Met treated it almost as their varsity. Yeah. We were there, we saw the atmosphere, and it was a big atmosphere. The whole team from first to fifth and sixth were there, supporting out in force. And yeah, I mean, after that disappointing opening defeat, they were really hoping to bounce back. So as you can see, we struggled again away at Cardiff Metropolitan University. We started brightly, and Julian Mogg converted his penalty quite early on, but we weren't able to follow on from that.
No, it was a real shame. A really good start, the early try, and then Met gradually got back into it and started battling a lot more. I think the home support really counted in their favour, as it did for the travelling contingent at the varsity last year. They really got behind Cardiff, whereas Met, they had so many there, hundreds in fact, all they getting behind the team, and it was fantastic to see, but it must have really given them like a psychological advantage.
Yeah, and it seemed obviously Cardiff's lead only lasted for 2 minutes before Cardiff Met got their first try, and it seemed like we were just being overpowered in every aspect of the game, really.
Absolutely. The one shine light there was Tom Boot. He was a real powerhouse for them. He didn't give up at all. Well, none of the players gave up, but he was the real driving force behind a lot of the attacks, which is great to see.
Absolutely, yeah. And Hugh Parks got Cardiff's only try of the game, making it 15-11 at the time, and you thought that maybe they had the opportunity to come back.
We're at the half, only 4 points down. He could really come back, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the trouble, if you take an early lead, and especially when you're away from home and in such an intense rival competitive fixture like that, once you take the lead, you're sort of almost immediately on the defence. Then Cardiff Met have, they've got to come back into the game. They've got all that support behind them, and sometimes it's easier to come back.
Absolutely.
From a deficit as such and recover that, especially when you've got that support behind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Cardiff were caught napping at times, and they were really punished by Met, just being pummeled again and again and again, and they was gradually broken down for the second half, which was really poor to see, but I think they will come back from it.
Again, we were at the game. There were a few tries late on in that first half where our players just seemed to lack maybe a bit of fitness. Obviously, it's still early on in the season. Cardiff Met have played an extra game compared to them.
The kicking was quite suspect, I thought, at times, because so many conversions were missed during the game, not only by Cardiff players but by Met players as well, which was disappointing to see. You think with the amount of practice and the amount of fitness again playing a big part that they would have converted, but it didn't happen.
Absolutely, and it seemed to be the same sorts of problems that they were experiencing against Bath, and they weren't able to break the line, even though there was a lot more penetration, but it was just getting past that final line of the Cardiff Met defence. You'll see from the league table that we are struggling at the moment. We're currently rock bottom, and obviously it's still early on in the season, still high hopes. But here, take a look at it for yourself. Moving swiftly on, Cardiff Ladies' first netball team kicked off their season this month. Here's what our pundits make of their form so far.
So they won away from home against Exeter, but that was sandwiched in between two nasty defeats against both Hertfordshire and Gloucester. So it was a real kick in the teeth to start the season. We like that. But if they can transfer their away form into what they do at home, then they should be fine.
Absolutely, and of course they finished third in the league last year, their first season in the top division. Solid showing from them, and I mean they are hoping to perform in a similar way again. But the defeat to Brunel is probably the key one in there. They beat them home and away last season, and they really need to get back on form. And of course they play Cardiff Met today at home down at Talibont. Cardiff Met have won the league twice in the last 3 years, and so they really got a tough test there. But if they can manage to get something out of that, it would shape their season quite nicely.
It seems the Cardiff Met team are the bogey team for most Cardiff University sides this season especially. So like you say, if they can get a good result there, they can really kick on this season.
Absolutely. And of course, speaking of the season last year, the team won 47-7 at varsity. So it's going to be hard to top off the year and sort of match it. I know the captain has made the point that they've lost quite a few third years, but they've tried to retain as much as they can. And apparently there are a few internationals coming through in freshers. So I mean, I'm sure they'll be hoping to perform in a similar way.
It's a quite tight league. If you look at other than Hertfordshire, who have made that incredible surge at the start of the season, and then you've got Exeter at the bottom. Besides those two teams, that's a very tight division you've got there. All teams have run very similar amount of points, so it's only going to take a win or two, and they'll be climbing back up that table. But
having said that, they were a mid-table team last season as well, so they kind of keep that consistency going. But they will want to kick on, as all teams do at the start of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that stability is the most important thing, isn't it?
Definitely. We've lost so many players and have to gel so many young players into the team.
Exactly. Just as long as they can stay in the league for a couple of years, 2 or 3 more seasons, and then think about going even further. And of course, the varsity at the end is the pinnacle, isn't it?
Everyone plays towards, so they can get a good momentum going before then, really get some good wins behind them, then they'll be fine with varsity.
Absolutely. And here are those fixtures for the upcoming month. That's nearly all we have time for this week on the show. But before we go, we've got a new segment called Team to Watch. So Dan, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. I've really enjoyed watching the Cardiff men's hockey thirds the past few weeks. I know not the first team, but they've been playing really, really well in the new league. They've had 2 games so far, a tough away draw against the Royal Agricultural University and a fantastic resounding home win against the University of South Wales first team. So they're currently second in the league behind Swansea seconds, and they're doing really, really well to be punching above their weight in such a really good league above the University of South Wales first team, and they're a third team, so it's fantastic to see, really.
Absolutely, certainly one to watch out for.
Definitely.
Jamie, who's your team this week?
I've chosen the korfball team. I actually went down there a couple of weeks ago to try this enigmatic sport out for Guy Reith, so I had a really good time. It's a very interesting sport. It's sort of a mix between netball and basketball with a few different adaptations as such, but it's actually a mixed gender sport, which is quite rare. It claims to be the only fairest sort of mixed gender sport because you're only allowed to mark the opposite sex, so that's quite interesting. So it's quite a unique sport. But they're doing really well. They've started their division quite solidly, 2 wins from 2. They sit in 4th place with 4 points. They've got a game in hand or 2 on a couple of the other teams above them, so that's very positive for them. They'll be really pleased with that. They finished 3rd at the Bucks National Championships earlier this year as well, so I think they want to build on that and go even better next time around. Special mention to the president as well, Neem Sully. She's actually been selected to represent the Welsh national team in korfball as well, so you can see the amount of talent that they've got in that squad as well. So
and how did you fare at korfball?
that's a very good question. In the actual play it was okay because it was quite similar to basketball in that respect, so, and I played that a few times, but shooting wasn't good. You don't have a basket as a reference point. I find that quite difficult.
I was thinking maybe we should all go down and see how we all fare.
It's very good fun. It's really good for the fitness as well, because you're moving all the time. And great sport, very friendly people, and definitely go and try it out.
I'm sure korfball could definitely be a segment we could look at doing in future weeks.
I think they do.
And finally, my choice is the Cardiff men's hockey firsts. They've just been dominating their league so far this season. They beat Sussex first 16-0. And I think last year they only won 8-6, which really shows their improvement in the gulf in class that there is between the teams in that league. And they beat Cambridge University 3-1 as well. And you'd imagine with Cambridge being such a prestigious university that they'd have a pretty good team, so we must be doing alright to beat them. they're like I say, currently top of the Premier B South, and so they'll really be hoping to kick on and get promotion this year. And yeah, so I'm going to back them for promotion. They're my team, not only for this week but for the year.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Is
Yeah.
playing?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with. And on that bombshell, it's time to end our first show here. It's been great having the help from Jamie and Dan, and of course our filmer who deserves a little mention, the famous Chris Priestley. But thanks for your insightful knowledge and predictions for all Cardiff University sport. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and add us on Facebook. The Twitter handles are going below right now. Good luck to all the teams looking for big wins tonight. Hopefully Cardiff University sport can continue to thrive. Thanks very much.